All right, really quick. All right. So, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the 8-Bit Podcast episode. What is this one now? 26? I don't even remember.
Kate's shaking her head. 28. I see her over
25?
there.
24.
26.
It is 26. That's what I thought.
All right.
Well, to be fair, it's been a few weeks. I think the last one we did was when we were talking about the Super Bowl. When was that? Early February? Yeah. It's been about 6 weeks since we have done one. But in our, we always say this, we get busy, but I mean, it's the truth. We've been really busy lately, making things happen, saving the world through design marketing.
We should just have a graphic that comes up. We've been busy.
We've been busy.
You can reuse that, Stephen. Every podcast.
Yeah, sure.
We've been busy.
But no, it's been good. We've been doing all kinds of fun things, and now it's springtime finally in Duluth, so finally have some melting going on from our crazy winter, which is funny. Back in December when it was still kind of, I was like, oh, we're gonna have a brown Christmas maybe, because it was, not a lot of snow. It was really cold, not too bad. And then finally had a white Christmas and whatever. And then, I don't know, Mother Nature flipped the switch.
We got some snow.
We got a lot of snow.
We got a lot of snow this year. Although it didn't look like we broke any records or anything. We weren't even close, really, for the last.
Right.
But just seemed different this year.
Although February, didn't you say it was the snowiest?
That could be. Maybe that's why it felt like so much.
I think it was the snowiest February on record, I think. I think there were a lot of towns in Minnesota that did that, broke their records. So February was crazy. One thing we decided to talk about today is just the role of video and probably even photography for that, maybe for different reasons, but just the importance of it. It's such a huge, nowadays especially, I feel like there was a time maybe, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago where, video was, if you weren't doing television per se, video, granted YouTube's been around for 15 years now, roughly. I think it was kind of in its infancy, but that's, I think when I think of video online, it was kind of the start of that was YouTube and Vimeo. But now it's like, I don't know if you can survive without it.
Yeah.
It's amazing to us, but I mean, I think lately we've had a couple big projects that have come up in the last 2 years that have been television and video, online video related. We always have photography. We're always pushing for good photography. If anything, trying to have a strategy related to using stock photography. But yet then there's always seems to be times where we run into where I sometimes wonder if clients are maybe know the value of photography, having good photography. It's one thing. Well, we have pictures, but what does that mean?
If you think about when we first started in this industry, I think video is very expensive.
Yeah.
And, you'd only do it if you're doing these high-end TV commercials, really.
Right.
I mean,
right.
That was about it. And
they're talking about a full television crew.
Right.
You didn't have necessarily some of the stuff now you can do and shoot with is so much smaller and compact, et cetera.
Right. And I think some of the big shoots still use a big crew and everything and should. There's so much more you can do with smaller crews now. And not only that, but the TV placement used to be, well, it still is expensive. It can be very expensive. So now we have different uses for it. Like you said, YouTube, Vimeo, things like that, where it doesn't have to just go on TV. There's so many more uses for it now. And when you film it too, that was just TV. Now we have so many different channels and so many things you can cut it up and use it for that the shooting for the TV was very expensive. Now you're shooting for so many things. So to me, the value has gone way up even.
Right, the value. I think that's the truth. You're right. Because I think when you look at if we were pricing out, of all the services we do, I would still say most of the time when we do shoot a bigger thing where we're still using outside vendors, which we have some great ones that we work with. Quote unquote cost, I guess, is maybe in the short term, maybe fairly expensive still. Nothing to sneeze at. It's still a good it takes a lot to do that, to shoot it. Especially if you're going on on site somewhere, you got to scout it. You got to maybe work with some other outside vendors for who knows what, getting talent. There's a lot of work involved pre-production wise to get all that to happen. But then once you have that video, then it's like, like you said, if it's television, you're editing, a whole ton of time that you shoot down to a 30-second spot, but you need to do that in order to get all the, the options you need. But then, like you said, the portability of it to take all the maybe stuff you didn't use, how can you use it different?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you talk about the different uses too. So not always are you going to need that super high-end TV quality production. Sometimes GoPros and even cell phones
an iPhone or something
can work for different applications, especially social media and things like that. So there's such a wide variety of it now. Now that's also maybe a problem, that there's such small, compact, easy, inexpensive devices like the phones and, lesser expensive cameras that a lot of times people will push that to be used on higher quality TV or YouTube, things like that. So I think there's definitely a balance there of when you should use things and shouldn't, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the reasons to use it too. I mean, like you said, it used to be really expensive. Now it's, even if you're spending your money on it now and using all the other things for other reasons across so many different mediums, from a brand standpoint is also pretty amazing, because a lot of times you're shooting for very specific, content, whether it's television or not, there's still things you can pull out. So from a content standpoint, you can pull those things out, but from a branding element too, it's such a great way to round out your brand, and what people see. A lot of times the way people interact, especially online, even if they're not necessarily getting a full-on message, but just to see a very specific, well shot, well thought out video that tells their story, whether or not it includes that message or not is I think a subconscious thing where you're like, I trust these people. I get what they do. I understand their mission. I understand what they're all about, and helps to differentiate yourself from a lot of your competition. So
we even look at doing this right now.
Yeah.
We're doing this because we want to do it just to see if we could do it before, but now we want to pass on some potential knowledge that we have in the area of marketing and design, advertising, things like that. And a lot of people are doing that. Every time I fix something on a car, I'll look it up on YouTube, and it seems like it's maybe a garage that is trying to promote themselves to people, and I watch what they do, and I don't know, that was one example, but I guess what I'm saying is part of that branding and part of that marketing thing is to show people that you might be the experts in an area and help push that brand a little bit.
I think another thing too with video is, especially, because we are online, we've talked about this in other past podcasts about, just the role of being online, et cetera. But I think people are just naturally lazy too a little bit when it comes to some things where, and I don't blame them, because it's always that fine line online about, when you think about search engine optimization and having enough quality content and the right keywords and all those things in place, that the things that go into a very good SEO strategy to be found online. But there's also that length of content where, what's people truly going to read and what are they not going to read? And I think what's nice with video, even to supplement some of those types of those times, is the fact that in a mobile first kind of mentality now, to sit and do this and read a lot it's a lot easier just to hit a video and watch it, get the gist of it, and move on. Unfortunately, that's kind of maybe the it's not really an unfortunate thing, I guess. It's a good thing, I think, again. And then I think with video, it saves some time. It allows you to get to some points quicker, and it builds brand, But yeah, I think we're just naturally lazy.
Yeah.
So another good reason to use video. And then on the other side of photography, that's nothing to. I think it's easy to have an oversight to that.
Yeah.
Again, good quality photograph, especially when you're talking about brand, etc., is imperative, I think. So many times, like I said, it's always a place that sometimes people want to cut costs. We have some photos, or we took photos 5 years ago, or whatever. We'll just reuse the ones we got, and to keep that stuff up to date, to have a very similar, distinct look and feel to that, stylistic attributes to that, is so important to your overall branding piece. Whether it's going to be online or obviously in printed pieces or anywhere else you might use it. Such a huge thing, but yet it's so often overlooked. No one wants to pay the money for it,
Well, nothing more than a photo or video can really capture, whatever you're trying to sell or market.
Yeah.
Better than great photography and video. I think people see it, and you had mentioned earlier, if you go maybe onto a website or something and they have poor photography, you might think it's a poor product or a poor service, and I don't disagree with that at all. It's, if you have two websites side by side, they're selling the same thing, maybe a slightly different cost. It's like I gravitate towards the nicely designed one with nice photos, and they might be the exact same product, but I trust them more.
Right.
Because they spent the time and effort to do that. They must be legit.
There's some times too where we'll do a beautiful e-commerce site, but to reshoot for products they've already shot with their iPhone, which granted, like we just said, that can look okay, but there definitely is a difference. If it's not well lit, if it's not done a certain way, it just kind of makes you go, I kind of wish I was that, you know what I mean? Like the full experience just seems kind of like a letdown then.
We've also seen it where we'll be taking an old website and making a new one, and they might have nice photos, but they were sized for the old website very small.
Right.
Now we want to have nice, bigger photos for them to use, and they don't have those originals anywhere, so you can't stretch them up and make them look bad, so you want them to look good.
The flip side too is, while do we need to, shoot all of our own stuff, when we only need to have a very specific kind of lifestyle feel, and it's like, well, you only need 5 shots. We're not going to spend, and I get that. You're not going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a custom shoot for 5 or 10 pics. You might, but I mean, more than likely. But then it's like, okay, let's go to stock. But then it's like, we got to spend some time, and work with us to help be that eye, because sometimes there's so many options with stock that and a lot of times then when you do just let people run with it. And again, I don't want to sound negative towards that, but sometimes if you're not necessarily working with it all the time, you don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of looking in the right spots for the right stuff. What happens a lot of times is you're going to have a very disjointed look and feel across. You might pull one from here, one from there, whatever, and they all look different.
Right.
And maybe it doesn't feel that way separately, but when you put them like on a website or something and you start to they kind of have a relationship between types of content, that's when you really notice it. And when they kind of go, oh, again, it's a letdown.
Right.
Well,
and you're right. Let's say you need one photo. Most likely I'm going to set up a photo shoot for that.
Right.
And so you go look on one of the stock photo sites, and I swear this happens every time you have something in your mind and it's so perfect in your mind, seems like the easiest thing in the world to find in a stock photo place that has hundreds of thousands probably of photos. And you go in there and you type it in, and there's nothing like it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Steven, who is behind the camera here, sometimes struggles trying to find things that represent, let's say, the northern Minnesota.
Yeah.
It could be as simple as a home that we're trying to put in a mortgage ad or something like that. And you type it in just like you want it, and everything has palm trees or mountains in it. Yeah. Ocean instead of lakes, and
just doesn't look like it's in the same area.
Right.
You're sitting there digging for an hour to find a house that looks like it could be in northern Minnesota, and it ends up being so much harder than you thought it would.
Or you're trying to find somebody at a local coffee shop, and it's like they're dressed to the nines, and definitely not this area. And so you're right. Sometimes we spend more time looking for a perfect stock photo than it would be to take the photo ourselves.
Yeah.
So sometimes we got to weigh that also.
Right.
Yet, if you want the most bizarre thing on the planet, you'll find it in stock photos.
Yeah.
I can't think of a great example, but
yeah.
They're odd.
They're odd.
The
very,
mouse
very
on
odd.
the snowmobile
Yeah.
jumping through the air.
Yes.
Who would use that?
Why did they shoot that? Somebody wanted it, and they're like, well, I might as well throw it on the stock photo site now.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be tough, and you know, I think we understand where clients come from sometimes when it comes to some of those things. Well, you know, maybe they already invested money in stuff, but that was 5 years ago. But there's that part too that you have to sometimes say, all right, this does need a refresh or an update, you know, and be willing to kind of maybe bite that off,
Yeah.
you know. And there too, if you know you want them to live a little bit longer, you know, there too, you know, working with professional creatives that do it all the time, you know, that can maybe have an eye for, hey, if we shoot this, we could shoot this, and then we could also have some extras or some alternatives that could maybe help it maybe last a little longer as far as a library goes. But definitely cutting corners with photos, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell.
I know in the past too, we've contacted professional photographers and just said, hey, I'm looking for a shot of the lake or something. Do you have anything extra I could use as a stock photo? And most of the time they do, and they're willing to, you know, give you a good deal on it because it's already shot, it's already in their collection. So that we haven't done that in a while, but that's an option too sometimes. We haven't done a lot with stock video.
No.
And I think to me that's even more difficult to find what you're looking for because
Exactly.
it's usually seems to be usually more mundane things like,
Right.
I don't know, candle flickering or something. It's,
Right. Well, but there too, you know, it's hard because a lot of times you think about stock, it's of one very specific subject. That, granted, there might be a couple of variety of things, but now you start to try and put video, moving images to connect dots from a visual standpoint. That can be even more difficult. Try and match them up and, like you said, get the right shot. So even more so than photography. You know, one real quick thing too with photography and or video, I mean, when you think about how visual marketing has become, you know, obviously there's always been, you know, the traditional pieces, et cetera, but now online, you know, even with Instagram and just social media, there's so much more you have to be more visual with, you know, and so again, when you really start to break it down, you think about all your needs, you know, it's still a great value to maybe put some, to spend the money on that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can, you know, again, you can use it like a variety of ways, you know, even photographs, you know, Instagram, et cetera. So it's such a huge thing that I feel like sometimes just gets kind of like, you know, the afterthought.
It's an afterthought for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things we forgot to mention about stock too is there's different types of stock. There's royalty free, which allows you to, for the most part, use it how you want it and where you want it. And then you run the risk though of your client could be using not client, your competitor could be using the same photo right down the street on another billboard.
Right.
There's no way to control that. There is rights managed photos that they do help you control that, who uses them and where. But you spend a lot of money typically on those.
Right.
You know, they'll ask you how it's being used. If it's used for, let's say, print in a magazine, they'll ask you where the magazine is, how many copies are sold, and how big of the total size of the ad is the photo, and on and on and on and on. Then you get that tiny little window to use it, and then when you're done, you have to pay for it again. So you might control, you know, not having somebody else use the same photo, but you're going to spend a lot of money doing that. So
So a lot of times, if you're getting that deep into stock, you might as well just maybe shoot custom and be done with it.
Right.
Then you got it forever.
Now, if we wanted to throw a shot of a cheetah on something, might be a little more expensive for us to go shoot that
I would think so.
than use a rights managed photo, but
Be more fun.
it would be a lot more fun. Put you out there as bait.
Ooh, big fat guy.
Steven, shoot this quick.
Yeah. No, so I mean, we don't have to keep going on and on about it, but definitely if you're out there and you're, you know, and you're in charge of your a lot of aspects of your marketing, don't just try not to chintz on it. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, pick your battles. I mean, I get it, you know, from a budget standpoint, but when you think about all the aspects of all your other forms of marketing, it's easy to forget that photography, very, very important. And then with video, just the portability and the usability of it, the universal aspect of it, such an important part nowadays.
Right. And I would say too, when you talk about the budget part of it, consider that part of your budget when you start the project, before you start the project.
Right.
If you're looking to talk to an agency or something like that, consider that you're going to have that cost. Don't be surprised by it, because it should be part of it.
Definitely. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's enough for today, I guess.
Yeah. Oh,
we
didn't even point out our new location today.
What? Oh, we're sitting in our kitchen.
Yeah, we're in the kitchen today. I thought we'd switch it up from the conference room to the kitchen.
Try it out.
Yeah.
And I think we have some other spots we might try over the next few months. But conference room is cool, but I thought we'd try something new. So, so thanks, Steven. This was a cool idea. I know you had a hand in that too. So
Thanks for shutting the dishwasher off.
You don't have to listen to that. So, but, well, cool. Well, until next time, we're going to try to get these back a little bit more often again. Sorry if we were gone for a little bit. We just, we'll do more again here really soon. So
Ask CA?
Ask CA, yes. If you have any specific marketing or design or any kind of thing related to your marketing, or just something that you've always wanted to get off your chest, remember there's Ask CA, which you can use #CA on a variety of social media. And these are questions that we'd like to use going forward in other episodes. And from time to time, we'll answer them the best we can. And hopefully get you some answers to all the questions you may have about those specific things. So,
And that's the letter C and A, right?
C and A, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like CA.
CA, Ask CA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not CNA, like, what would that be? College News No, that's not it. I don't know. Ask CA.
Ask CA.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, cool. Anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Well, till next time. See you later.
Okay.